want me to throw the first scoop in?
Yeah.
All right, let's make some money. Or lose more.
From battling frozen ground to pulling millions in gold, Parker Schnabel's crew faces extreme conditions every single day. But have you ever wondered how much they actually get paid for all that back-breaking work? While Gold Rush shows us the thrill and the shine, the real story is buried deep in long shifts, freezing weather, and high-stakes pressure. So, is all that gold translating into big paychecks for the team? The truth might surprise you. Stick around to find out. And if you enjoy real, behind-the-scenes stories from the gold fields, don't forget to subscribe for more. In the latest season, Parker's team struck gold. And not just a little. They pulled up an incredible 73,800 ounces of gold, valued at roughly $14.7 million. That's a number big enough to turn heads and spark envy. You'd think everyone on the crew walked away as millionaires, right? Not exactly. Because once you break that massive total down to individual paychecks, the reality is far less glamorous. Mining isn't just about hitting the jackpot. It comes with enormous risks, unpredictable outcomes, and long, brutal days where the reward is zero. This isn't a job where you punch a clock, sip coffee, and breeze through the shift. It's physical, relentless labor in some of the harshest conditions imaginable. And while the gold haul might make headlines, what the workers actually earn is a whole different story. So the real question is, who's truly cashing in? Parker's crew isn't just a group of guys shoveling dirt. These are skilled workers, foremen, mechanics, heavy equipment operators, each with critical roles and high-pressure responsibilities. They work harder than most can imagine, and while some get rewarded, others just scrape by. Stick around, because we're breaking down exactly how the money gets divided, and who walks away with what at the end of the season. So, how much does Parker's crew actually make? On paper, the numbers sound impressive. A base crew member can earn up to $144,000. But here's what most people miss. That paycheck covers just 6 months of grueling work. It's not your average half year. These 6 months are packed with intensity, with most crew members pushing through 75-hour work weeks, sometimes even more. That breaks down to around $28 an hour, or roughly $65,000 per season, before any bonuses kick in. And yes, experienced hands can earn closer to $34 an hour. But the real question is, does all that effort truly pay off? Parker is known for rewarding his crew when the gold's flowing. And while no one's spilling exact bonus numbers, insiders say the rewards can be generous. The bigger the haul, the bigger the cut each key team member gets. But that's not where the money ends. Because working with Parker isn't just about pulling gold out of the dirt, it's about being part of a hit reality show. And for those who become familiar faces on camera, there's another revenue stream entirely: TV money. This part is where things get crazy. Depending on their role in the story and how much screen time they rack up, some crew members reportedly earn between $10,000 to $30,000 per episode. And with a full season of Gold Rush stretching over 20 episodes, a top-tier crew member could quietly walk away with well over $200,000 just from the show. Add in their mining pay, and that number climbs even higher. But here's the catch: only a select few ever reach that level. For most, the job remains exactly what it looks like: cold, remote, and endlessly demanding. To make life a little more bearable out in the wilderness, Parker covers some crucial basics for his crew. During mining season, every worker gets free housing and meals, no rent, no grocery runs, and no worrying about cooking after a 12-hour shift. It might seem like a small gesture, but in the Yukon, where the cold cuts deep and the days never seem to end, a warm bed and hot meal can feel like survival itself. And financially, it adds up. With living expenses covered, those hard-earned paychecks go a lot further. But even with these perks, this job isn't just tough. It's a mental, physical, and emotional battle. Imagine sharing tight quarters with the same people for months on end. No personal space, nowhere to truly unwind, and no real break from the grind. It's a relentless cycle. Work, eat, sleep, repeat. And while the hot meals help, they don't cure the exhaustion or the isolation that creeps in after weeks without family, missed holidays, and no chance to hit pause. Some say the crew needs more than just food and shelter. They need support. Ideas have been floated: lounges, game rooms, even travel allowances to visit home. Others argue it's time to take mental health seriously on the claim. Because here's the truth: no amount of gold, no matter how shiny, can fully balance out the pressure, the loneliness, or the emotional cost of working in these extreme conditions. Yes, they're chasing millions, but every single day, they're also pushing themselves to the edge. And not everyone makes it through, and it's not just 1 week of that. The crew usually follows a grueling schedule: 12 days on, 2 days off. 2 days off might sound like a break, but when your body's been run to the ground for nearly 2 weeks straight, it's barely enough time to catch your breath, let alone recover. Now add in the fact that they're working out in the cold, remote wilderness, where the wind bites, the snow stings, and everything is heavy, from the machinery to the exhaustion they carry every day. The work doesn't stop just because you're tired. The goal doesn't wait, and neither does the deadline. When night falls and the temperature drops even lower, the crew just keeps pushing. The only thing they can count on is that the next day will be just as hard as the last. There's no gentle ramp-up. There's no break. Just cold, hard labor, from start to finish. And if you're thinking the mining camp must at least offer some comfort, think again. It's not some peaceful mountain retreat. It's loud, cramped, and chaotic. There's no real privacy, and rest doesn't come easy when you're sharing small spaces with a bunch of other exhausted people. Then throw in unreliable equipment, dangerous terrain, and the constant threat of breakdowns. A single machine failure can delay production, set off tempers, and add hours of extra work. It's stressful, it's unpredictable, it's tough. And honestly, not everyone can take it. A lot of people walk away before the season ends, and no one blames them. Because imagine doing all of that day after day, while getting barely any sleep. You wake up tired, you work while you're exhausted, and you go to bed knowing you'll do it all again tomorrow. Your body aches, your mind starts to shut down, and emotionally the toll is just as heavy. You're away from your family, living in the middle of nowhere, running on fumes, and chasing a goal that might never be guaranteed. And let's not ignore the truth about the work itself. It's not glamorous. It's the same thing over and over again, moving endless piles of dirt, operating loud, bulky machines, and constantly fixing things when they break down. It's not creative. It's not varied. It's not even particularly satisfying most of the time. It's grind work, long hours, tedious routines, and no real breaks. Except when your body forces you to collapse into bed. Even then, sleep isn't restful, because in just a few short hours, the alarm goes off, and it all starts again. At this point, it's natural to wonder, why would anyone willingly choose this life? Is the money really worth it? Is chasing gold worth this much personal sacrifice? For some, the answer is yes. But for many, it's clear. This job isn't for the faint of heart. It takes something different, something stronger. The people who make it through a season with Parker are definitely cut from a different cloth. They've got grit, endurance, and stubborn determination. And in this kind of extreme environment, team spirit matters more than anything. When the body wants to give out and the mind feels like quitting, that's when the crew pulls each other through. It's the crew around you that keeps you going. Morale, real, hard-earned, deep trust between people, is the fuel that gets them through the hardest days. And surprisingly, one of the most important people on the crew isn't even working the gold, it's the cook. Seriously, that might sound funny at first, but think about it. After a brutal 12-hour shift in freezing cold, nothing feels better than a hot meal. It's more than just food. It's comfort, stability, a little bit of joy in a miserable place. Parker knows this. That's why whenever there's drama in the kitchen, he often takes the cook's side, because he understands one simple truth: a crew that eats well, works well. Good food keeps people happy, and in a place where everything else is tough, even one good meal can change the mood of the entire camp. Beyond the food, though, there's something deeper. There's a bond that forms between these miners. It's unspoken but powerful. They're suffering together, working side by side, and pushing through things that most people will never understand. And in that shared hardship, they find loyalty, trust, and resilience, the kind that lasts long after the season ends. But there's another side to working with Parker that a lot of people miss. Because while the pay, the perks, and the gold totals get all the attention, what really keeps people coming back season after season is something else entirely. It's career growth. Parker's operation isn't just a place to make money. It's a place to build a career. Let's say you show up as a rookie. You've never touched a dozer, barely know what a wash plant is, and you're just hoping not to get yelled at. Well, if you're willing to put in the work, pay attention, and not quit when things get tough, you've got a real shot at climbing the ladder, and fast. It's not uncommon for total newcomers to move up to equipment operators in just 1 or 2 seasons. That means getting behind the controls of excavators, rock trucks, and loaders, running the machines that actually pull the gold out of the ground. And from there, the path keeps going. Operators who master their equipment often move into more specialized roles, like managing plant operations, overseeing sluice setups, or even leading full shifts. The beauty of Parker's setup is that it's hands-on from the jump. You're not stuck watching someone else do the job for years. You learn by doing. And that means you pick up real technical skills fast. Skills that are valuable not just in gold mining, but across construction, heavy industry, and logistics. And here's something that really makes Parker's operations stand out: the cross-training. If you show an interest, you won't just run one machine all season. You might start in the pit, then jump into the loader, then get time helping manage plant maintenance. And by the end of the season, you're doing tasks across 3 or 4 different roles. That kind of cross-training not only keeps things interesting, it makes you far more valuable. The more jobs you can do, the more irreplaceable you become. And then there's leadership. As the operation grows, so does the need for strong team leads. People who can manage crews, solve problems on the fly, and keep everything running smoothly, even when things hit the fan. Parker has a strong habit of promoting from within. He pays close attention to who steps up when the pressure is on, who gets the job done without needing direction, and who unites the team rather than divides it. Those are the people who move up the ranks. And with greater responsibility comes better pay. Some crew members manage to double their earnings within just 3 to 4 years by gaining experience and climbing the ladder. It's not guaranteed, and nothing comes easy, but the opportunity is definitely there. But it's not only about mining. Working closely with Parker also means getting a taste of the business side of things. He's not just managing a crew, he's running a company. So when someone shows real ambition, Parker takes them under his wing. Whether it's how to price out a claim, budget for new equipment, or balance risk and reward on an investment, he gives his top people an insider's look at what it takes to succeed in this business. That kind of mentorship doesn't show up in paychecks but pays huge dividends in the long run, and we've already seen it in action. Take Mitch Blaschke, for example. He started as a mechanic, the guy fixing equipment when it broke down. Over time, he became one of the most trusted members of Parker's crew. Now he's a key leader, often running entire parts of the operation while Parker scouts new ground. His role, salary, and importance all grew through hard work and loyalty. Then there's Brennan Ruolt. He began as a rock truck driver, not the flashiest job, but he pushed himself to learn more, run bigger machines, and tackle tougher tasks. Eventually, he earned a spot in the excavator seat and became one of the best diggers on the team. That kind of drive earned him a central role in the crew, along with the respect and pay to match. Tyson McDonald is another great example. He joined doing general labor, the kind of grunt work nobody wants. But he learned fast, asked smart questions, and soon took over running the wash plant, a critical part of the gold recovery process. He wasn't a star at first, but he became one, with more money, more responsibilities, and a genuine mining career to show for it. And then there are the ones who took what they learned and went solo. Several crew members have stepped away from Parker's operation to launch their own small-scale mining ventures. It's these stories that keep people coming back season after season, because once you've been through it, once you've survived the early mornings, the brutal breakdowns, the freezing winds and the mud up to your knees, you start to realize something. You're not just working a job. You're part of something bigger, a crew, a team, a legacy. Parker doesn't sugarcoat the work. He tells it straight. It's going to be hard. You're going to be exhausted. And not everyone's going to make it to the end of the season. But if you do, you walk away with more than a paycheck. You leave with skills, real, usable, heavy-duty skills that stick with you. You learn how to run multi-million-dollar equipment, how to repair machines with nothing but duct tape and brain power, how to manage chaos when everything goes wrong, and still bring in the gold. You gain confidence. You realize you can take a beating from the Klondike and still show up the next day swinging. That matters, not just out on the claim, but in life. And you get the respect of the people around you. Because if there's one thing this kind of work teaches you fast, it's how to earn trust. Not through talk, but through action. Through long nights, busted knuckles, and digging deep when everyone else wants to quit. So yeah, the question of how much Parker Schnabel pays his crew has a lot of layers. It starts with money, but it doesn't end there. Because when you work on Parker's crew, you're not just earning wages, you're earning a future. Some turn that future into leadership within the operation. Others use it as a launch pad to start something of their own. A few even pivot into new industries entirely, taking what they learned in the goldfields and applying it elsewhere. And let's not ignore the impact of being on Gold Rush. That's a platform for the crew members who stick around and show real personality. The exposure alone can change everything. Some develop fan bases. Some get sponsorship deals. Others just enjoy the fact that their hard work is seen and appreciated by millions of people around the world. That kind of recognition doesn't happen on a regular construction site, but on Parker's claim, it's part of the deal. So in the end, what's the real takeaway? Working for Parker Schnabel isn't for everyone. It's cold. It's dirty. It's high pressure and high stakes. You'll be away from family, friends, and regular life for half the year, and you're not always going to be thanked for your efforts. But for the right person, the kind who doesn't flinch from a challenge, who thrives on adrenaline and grit, who wants more out of life than a desk and a 9-to-5, this can be one of the most rewarding jobs out there. Financially, yes, 6 figures for 6 months is no joke, but even more so, personally. Because at the end of the day, Parker doesn't just dig for gold. He digs for people who can rise to the occasion, who can take the hits, make things happen, and walk out better than when they walked in. And if you can do that, then you'll find that Parker Schnabel pays his crew not just in dollars, but in opportunity, growth, and the kind of life lessons you can't buy anywhere else. That's the real gold. Out here, far from the comforts of everyday life, this crew relies on more than just their skills. They depend on each other to make it through every tough day. It's not simply about digging dirt. It's about enduring brutal weather, keeping your sanity through endless shifts, and pushing forward even when everything seems to fall apart. And trust me, things go wrong more often than you'd think. But what holds them together through all the setbacks are the friendships, the laughter, the small victories, and the shared hardships. That connection is what drives the team, shift after exhausting shift. Without that bond, even the toughest miners wouldn't survive in the harsh world of gold mining. While the crew battles mud and freezing temperatures, Parker faces a different kind of pressure. As the leader, he's not only managing the daily grind, he's also risking massive sums of money. If everything works out, the payoff can be huge. Depending on their haul, Parker can make between $600,000 and $1 million a year, including mining profits and earnings from the TV show. But Parker's income isn't just tied to gold and the cameras. He's landed sponsorships, does public appearances, and has smart investments. He's built more than a mining crew. He's created a brand. That brand is what keeps him financially stable in an unpredictable business. So while his team fights the elements and works the claim, Parker's focused on steering the whole operation and ensuring he comes out on top, no matter how the season unfolds. It's a combination of hard work and sharp strategy that keeps him leading the pack. Because in gold mining, it takes more than just raw strength to succeed.